Welcome to Dear Diaspora, a podcast celebrating the African diaspora and the change makers, innovators, and entrepreneurs working to make our world a better one to live in. I'm your host, Ndulwa Kowa. Let's get started. So before I introduce the next guest, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review if you're listening on Apple Podcasts. It makes a huge difference. And one key way that it helps is if someone looks up Dear Diaspora on Apple Podcasts, they can see the ratings, they can see reviews and what other people think of the show, and it makes them more likely to actually subscribe and check out a couple episodes. So be sure to leave a review. I would really appreciate it. And if you're listening on any other podcast listening platform, don't forget to make sure you're following the podcast so that you are updated each time there's a new episode out every Sunday. And also, if you're listening on Spotify, you can share when you're listening to episodes on your Instagram stories, which is really cool. So just like you would share a song, you can also share a podcast. So if you do that, go ahead and tag Dear Diaspora. So just at Dear Diaspora on Instagram, and I will repost and really appreciate you spreading the word about the podcast. Welcome to episode 12 and Dear Diaspora's first ever bonus episode. So the bonus episodes are going to be an opportunity for me to just have conversations with anyone really about topics that may not necessarily be connected to entrepreneurship or social change, those sort of things. So I thought it'd be really cool to just test out some different topic ideas, and the first topic is self-care. And I had a really great conversation with one of my best friends, Jasmine Lessley, all about self-care. This was a super real conversation, and when we recorded this episode, we actually talked for almost 2.5 hours, which is crazy. But of course, I cut it down, so stay with me. We get into some of the biggest lessons that she learned in the military, her fitness journey, and some of the tips that she has for prioritizing self-care and making it less of a chore. If you'd like to learn more about Jasmine and follow her on social media, you can do so at Jasmine Rachel on Instagram, and I'll make sure that's linked in the description. Jasmine, welcome to the show. I'm so excited to have you and to talk about all things self-care.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yes, of course. I felt like you'd be the perfect person because you're, all into fitness and, being vegan and eating really well. So I thought that it'd be awesome if you could bring that side of your expertise to the conversation. So yeah, so let's start by could you tell the audience a little bit more about who you are, and we can kind of get into how we met and our friendship and stuff.
Okay, well, obviously my name is Jasmine. I was born and raised in Nebraska, where I did meet Indu, actually Omaha, Nebraska. Me and Indu kind of, I would say we grew up together. We met, when did we meet? I would say in high school.
Yes.
High school.
Yeah, high school. I was.
Meet in church.
Sorry, what?
We met in church. I know we met in church a little bit.
Yes. We met at church, and then I think I remember seeing you. I think you were still in middle school, and I remember seeing you on the bus, and I was like, yeah. I was like, I think that girl goes to my church. I remember that for sure. And then once you came to high school and you were in 9th grade and I was in 10th grade, I feel like that's when our friendship actually officially started.
Definitely. Our couple of years at Westside.
Yes, Westside High School.
Yeah. I mean, those are some good times though. Good times.
Yes.
So yeah, I went to school, obviously, in Omaha, Nebraska. Actually, I went to Maplewood Academy my freshman year of high school. So that was in Minnesota. And then I think in 10th grade is when I came over to Westside. And Yeah, I forgot all about that.
Me too.
But yeah, once yeah, I was in 10th grade, you were in 11th grade. But I know that we did go to the same church, and then I think that's when our friendship, we became really close in high school. Um,
We did.
definitely, definitely got into a lot of stuff together. But it's kind of amazing to see where we were then to compared to where we are now.
Yes, lots of growth, I would
A
say.
lot of growth.
And do you want to share a bit more about like being in the Navy and your experience, and then kind of like how you got into like fitness?
Okay. So I joined the Navy in 2013, I believe. Um, I well, I'm technically still in. Right now, I'm doing the reserve side. So I've been in the last 6 years. Um, my first duty station was actually in Virginia, and I was on the Eisenhower for it was an aircraft carrier. So I was on there for a couple of years, and my experience, I actually went into the Navy undesignated, which would be technically without a job, without a specific job. So um, my naval career kind of jumped around into a lot of different jobs, but eventually I ended up being an AO, which is an aviation ordnanceman. And with that, we worked with bombs and just different stuff like that on the aircraft carrier. Um, I think in 2017 is when I decided that I was going to get out of active duty and go to school. So I got out in, I believe, September of 2017. And I started school right away, and I've been in school ever since. And I feel like I have a continuous headache from school. But I mean, a lot of people don't think that there is life outside of the military once you're in, because you get so used to. I did appreciate the structure. That's something that I definitely have to have in my life, is structure. So I definitely appreciated that, but there was also, a lot of stuff. Being that it was a job, but it was a job like you can't really quit type of thing.
Mm.
So yeah, I mean, I dealt with a lot of stuff, and at some point I was just like, I think this is my time to go.
Mm.
And so, I got out, went reserves, started school. Definitely still in school. Will be graduating by this upcoming April. So looking forward to that.
Yes.
Yeah, and well, then I'll be rolling right into my master's.
Okay.
So a lot of schooling, but honestly, it's worth it. I feel really accomplished, um, knowing that I'm taking care of what I need to take care of, for a better life for myself.
Mm.
So, yeah, I
Love
know it's a
it.
lot. I'm kind of all over the place.
No, thank you for sharing. I'm super proud of you, as you know.
Yeah.
And yes, I'm so excited to see just all your growth over these next few years. Okay, so what would you say is like one of the biggest lessons that you learned like about yourself like while you were in the Navy because you were in it for so long?
Whew, Lord. Being in the Navy, you deal with a lot of different people, and you deal with a lot of different personalities. So the biggest thing the Navy taught me was how to deal with other people and their personalities, because I and still to this day, I wouldn't say that I'm a people person, but but I definitely learned how to deal with different personalities. Um, I can say I had to learn a lot of patience, um, and how to stay in control of my emotions because, like I said, you're pretty much in a stressful environment all the time, um, and things can get really frustrating. And I think learning just how to deal with other people and also dealing with my own emotions, like I feel like the Navy definitely taught me a lot about that.
And so when you say like deal with your emotions, would you say it was like keeping them all in? Is that how you dealt with them? Or like how did you like express them? Or like if you were frustrated?
Um, just like definitely not learning to control my emotions, control like if I'm upset, because at some point in time I kind of did have a mouth on me. So, if I ever get upset, like I'm probably going to say something, but I feel like, as I got older and just dealing with different stuff, like I learned to really control how I felt and not let other people have control of my emotions.
Mm,
More like that.
I love that. So like not giving them the power to like completely
Right, because
shift
people,
you.
yeah, dealing with some people in the military at some point, like, somebody has power over you. And sometimes people abuse that power, and um you it's a lot to deal with, and you kind of have to know how to deal with it.
Mm,
And because anything you do, you could potentially get in trouble for. Um, so being with that being said, like I had to learn how to cope with other people and kind of coexist with other people, deal with personalities, not let people affect how I felt. Like, if I'm having a good day and my supervisor is having a crappy day and, they want to take it out on the work center, like, not letting their attitude affect me. You know what I mean?
mm. Yeah, I love that. And I feel like obviously that applies to any situation, whether you're
Yeah,
at work or, dealing with family or, friends. It's definitely important to be able to like, handle yourself and know like when to like react and when not to react and
yeah.
all those things.
Definitely. I don't want to say like it was all. I don't want to make it sound like it was all bad because it wasn't. I met really amazing people, and at at my first duty station, I met really cool people. I had really nice bonds with people, so it definitely wasn't all bad. But there were some. There are always pros and cons to everything. So. I got good relationships out of it. I met one of my best friends, Sierra, with her crazy self, but but I felt like the military also helped me grow up. I was no longer living with my mom. I was living on my own. Um, and living on your own comes with your own bills. So I had to, I had to be an adult. So it definitely it taught me some good things, and I I just learned how to deal with stuff.
Mm. And would you say your passion for fitness like was that developed like while you were still in the Navy or did it kind of happen like after?
Actually, yeah. So I would say, okay, so I'm not gonna lie. In the military, we all know that there's a bunch of drinking and partying. Okay, so me being younger, I took part in a lot of that stuff, and I became um, really unhealthy. Just with, eating any and everything. I didn't have a structured diet. I did gain weight. Um, I was, just dealing with a lot of, just being in a stressful environment anyway can really, what is the word? I don't know. It kind of really messes with your, I really don't know this word.
Like, so are you saying like kind of stress eating, like if you're frustrated and,
Um,
like, or,
I would say the stressors of the environment that I was in, I would say that they caused me to do a little bit more stress eating and um, just kind of, I would say, kind of because of the environment, because of, most people were drinking and I didn't smoke or anything like that, but just being in that environment kind of led to other things. And then I gained weight, and at some point I was just like, I cannot do this anymore. And I got into working out. I pretty much did like everybody else. So I tried what are they? The skinny teas, the tummy teas.
mm.
Um, I tried, I tried a waist trainer, literally, anything. When you're when you're kind of desperate, you're pretty much willing to try anything. Um, I know a lot of people would try like, the laxatives,
Whew.
just anything to kind of lose weight, but not knowing what I was doing or what I was doing to my body or how it was affecting me type of thing.
Mm.
Um, and then eventually, I got into bodybuilding. And I actually did my first show last year, I believe, in April. Oh,
Did
you were there,
you?
yeah. So last
Did
year in
you?
April, last year in April. So, and I actually did very well. Um, I won my class and the open category I was in. However, I didn't win the overall. Somebody did beat me. She was like a seasoned competitor, but that's neither here nor there. But even with that, when it came to fitness, everything that I did to work up to that point, I was really structured. I had a really great diet. Um, I had a coach. She had me on a strict diet. Um, I was definitely in the gym about 6 days a week. And then after the competition, I kind of rebounded. So when I say rebounded, I mean I kind of ate everything in sight.
Mm.
Literally everything in sight,
That's
pretty
me
much.
all the time.
Yeah. And after that, I gained a good amount of weight. Um, I dealt with body image, negative body image. I dealt with a lot of things during or after that period of time, and it took me a while to really get back on track and to enjoy like working out again and eating healthy. Now, during this time, I did do it as a vegan.
Mm.
Um, However, just because something is vegan, it does not mean that it's healthy. But
True.
yeah, definitely, I was definitely eating lots of cookies and,
And fries.
burgers, vegan burgers, fries, like literally anything I could get my hands on. And so that went on for a good amount of time because you have to think you're restricting your body for such a long period of time that, when you get to that point, once I got on that stage, nothing else mattered after that. All I wanted was food
Mm.
because I had deprived myself for, a long time working up to that point. And then after I rebounded, and now I'm definitely in a better place. But, it was I mean, that really started my love for fitness was in the military is when I really thought about doing a bodybuilding show, and I started working out. I found a good coach, and it kind of went uphill from there.
And so so during the beginning, like when you were first like, okay, I'm frustrated with, my diet and, I'm not really exercising, like how did you get yourself to the point where you were like actually like consistent about like working out and eating healthy? Like maybe just like
Or
walk us
after, are you saying like after the show or kind of before?
like way before, like in the beginning, like how did you get yourself like motivated to actually be like, okay, like this is it, like I'm gonna stick to this like new diet and this new like exercise regimen? Like how did you do that?
Um, so I honestly started working out with friends. There were, with me being in the military, I was around a whole bunch of guys. So I took kind of what they knew and I kind of followed them. Um, I learned things from them. I worked out with them. I worked out with also my female friends. We started working out together. Um, I think majority of it started, I would say, deployment of 2016 when I literally had nothing else to do besides work. Like all I had to do was work out. And it was crazy because, we were out um, and it was so hot. It was so hot that we were like constantly like switching shirts. We were sweating so much, and I had lost so much weight
Mm.
on deployment. And when I came back off of deployment, I wanted to keep it off, and so I continued to work out. I reached out to my coach, and um, she worked with me. Even after we deployed, we were still going on like underway, so we would still have to go out to sea.
Mm.
Um, and it was funny because I wanted to do a show, and during like my prep period, I would have to bring like canned food on the boat.
uh
Bring it on the boat and pretty much eat out of cans. And honestly, it was kind of unrealistic. Like there was no way that I could really go through during that time.
mm.
Being at the sea constantly, there was no way that I could get the workouts done, but the food was a different story because let me tell you, the food that we ate, it was scarce, it was dry, it was unseasoned. Like
Oh
it
no.
just, yeah, it was hard.
With all that
Um,
money that the government puts towards like the military, like
oh my, to support the mission, not to feed the people,
really.
not to feed us. Because I mean, honestly, it's better than having nothing, sort
Mm.
of. But at the same time, nutrition, being out to sea was like pretty much terrible. I mean, sometimes they did have fresh produce and stuff like that, but
Sometimes.
sometimes it was fresh, sometimes there was a bug or two. So,
No.
yeah. It was rough. People don't know, but it was rough. The water sometimes was like, I don't know, green. Like it was, yeah, it was weird. It was weird stuff that we really had to go through, but people don't know that about the military. People don't know what, you really have to go through And
Seriously.
the living conditions, the stressful environment, like all of that stuff. Yeah. I mean, you can understand why people um become alcoholics and stuff. I mean, that's not an excuse, but under the stress and in the environment, I mean,
Mm.
I can understand why, honestly.
Damn. Well, that sucks. I mean,
Yeah.
especially, you guys are out there like risking your lives, to defend this country, but you're not really being taken care of the way you should be.
Mm.
That's disappointing, but not surprised. Not
Yeah.
surprised. Okay.
But however, just dealing with that, once I did get into fitness though, once I did start working out, I found out that that was a way where I could relieve some stress. Like, who
Mm,
doesn't feel good after working out?
so, so true. And so, for someone who's like, let's say they've never really taken working out seriously and they're like, I just don't have time, like what's like an easy way to kind of like ease their way into it without like feeling like they have to be at the gym 5 times a week, um, lifting
Um,
weights or something?
I would say honestly, we all have time, and it's all about time management, which of course I definitely struggle with.
Mm,
However, we all have time, even if it's a 10-minute walk. That's better than absolutely doing nothing or stretching. Anything to where you're just moving your body, that's a start. You don't have to be in the gym for hours and hours, 7 days a week. You don't have to do that.
mm,
You do what works best for your schedule, but you want to take care of your body. So any type of movement is okay. And whether you want to work out at home, they have different exercise videos, or you can YouTube stuff, or, there's always a way where you can get some type of movement, some type of stretching.
mm. I love that. Yeah, I feel like you have to definitely put it in your schedule because I remember when like earlier this year I started like working out pretty seriously thanks to you and your guidance, and like I felt like when I actually like said like okay, on Tuesday I'm going to go work out before work. I'm going to get up at this time, and on Thursday I'm going to work out after work, and like I actually put it in my calendar.
Hmm.
Like that was like I feel like that made the biggest difference for me, because then I wasn't saying like, "Oh, I'll work out twice this week."
Yeah.
I'll find 2 hours this week to work out. But like actually like saying, "Okay, like these are the two set times and I know for sure Monday night I'm going to have to go to bed early so I can get up for that workout." And then, if I'm working out on Thursday after work, I'm making sure I have like my gym clothes with me when I leave the house. Like, I feel like things like that, like being like very, very intentional about actually putting it in your schedule, I feel like that
Yeah.
makes a huge difference.
Yeah, definitely. I think writing stuff down just it helps you stay more accountable for what's going on. Um, if you were to pretty much write out your whole schedule, and I mean, just find, I know you have 5 minutes, at least 5 minutes, 5, 10 minutes to stretch. Like that's something. Um, Anything is better than doing absolutely nothing. Like a 5 minute stretch could help you be productive for a little bit longer. You know what I mean? So
Mm,
just always find some time. 2 minutes is better than nothing. Like anything, literally anything.
mm. And so, how about like mentally? Like, I know sometimes it's like, okay, physically, I know I'm like able bodied and I'm capable of like taking a walk or going to the gym. But like, what if mentally I'm like,
You don't feel like it?
yeah, like how do you get yourself like out of that mindset?
It's definitely mental because I feel like it's really easy to talk yourself out of doing something because you feel like, or either you don't want to do it, or you feel like you don't have time or something. And then with stuff like that, with working out or just in general with anything in life, I have to apply the 2 minute rule. So anything I don't feel like doing, if I just start doing it for like 2 minutes, even if I only literally did 2 minutes, that's better than doing nothing at all. Or if getting to the gym. Oh, well, I'm just gonna, I know it sounds silly, but I'm gonna work out for 2 minutes, right? You're already at the gym. Now I'm pretty sure it's going to, extend your time at the gym. Um, or even, I don't know, doing homework or you don't want to study, something like that. Just look over something for 2 minutes. 2 minutes could turn into 10 minutes. That adds up throughout the week.
Mm. I really like that. And I feel like I use that even in other things in life. Like I like get really lazy with like doing dishes and stuff.
Yeah,
But I'm
like
like,
2 minutes.
yeah, I'm like, okay, I'm in the kitchen. I just got done cooking. Let me just like wash a couple plates. And then it turns into me like cleaning the entire kitchen because I'm just like, let me just do
I
it.
understand your pain in dishes. I really, I really, at this point, like when you live with like a bodybuilder and somebody that's constantly eating and you constantly have dishes, that's a hard life.
Mm,
I really, I really don't like doing dishes, but I mean, obviously they got to get done. But you know what I
right.
mean? Like I can relate.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. It's like, oh my God. But yeah, it has to get done. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. I like that 2 minute rule. Um, and so let's get into like more of like I guess the self care type of talk.
Mhm.
Like, how do you like? First, I feel like self care obviously is like kind of like popping right now. I guess like everyone's always talking about self care, but I feel like what it looks like a lot of times is like, oh, like I'm going to the spa, or I'm getting my nails done, or I'm getting my hair done, or I'm taking a bubble bath. And those are all great ways to take care of yourself, obviously. But like what does self-care look like for you, and like what do you think, like how would you define self-care? Let's start there.
I would say self care is just taking the action to preserve your health, and that when I say health, I mean your mind, body, and spirit type of thing. Um, for me, self care might look different depending on the day. Depending on how I'm feeling. Um, some things I like to do. I know you said bubble baths. But that's a great way to relax. Anything that helps me feel relaxed is something that I would consider um, self care. So for me, like going to bed early, that's definitely self care. I
Mm,
love to sleep. Like I really feel like I need a good 7-8 hours of sleep in order to function properly. You know,
mm,
a lot of people don't think of sleep as self care, but it definitely is. Um, Also, things I like to do. I like to paint. I just found out
yes.
that classical music. Um, but yeah, painting, listening to some relaxing music, having my coffee in the morning, starting my day off in devotion, prayer, um,
Mm,
stuff like that. That's kind of what I do for self care. Even the gym is self care. just time that I set aside for myself instead of taking care of everybody else.
Mm, I really love that. Especially, I feel like, yeah, just going out of your way to really ensure that you are like prepared for whatever it is that you have like planned, for the
Mm-hmm.
day or for the week. I feel like that's what self-care is for me. It's like just making sure you're good, like emotionally, physically, like spiritually, and preparing yourself for whatever it is that you need to tackle. Yeah, I love that
Right. And
definition.
it looks different for everyone. Like, what I like to do, maybe somebody else, doesn't like to do. It differs from person to person. And I mean, if going to the spa is a good thing, like something that you really enjoy doing, and it puts you in a relaxed state to where you feel like you can come back and conquer the world, then by all means, spend that money, girl. Because
Yes.
I'm not gonna spend that money. But yeah,
That's so true.
it looks
Yeah.
different for. I think a big thing. I know a lot of people talk about like meditation,
Mm,
um, and I mean that can definitely. Well, I mean that is definitely self care. Just kind of taking some time and like on my Fitbit, I have a little timer, a little 2 minute and 5 minute timer. So like when I'm like extra stressed, obviously if I'm in the middle of doing something, I can't, leave and just go paint or something, I can't do that. So, but I have a timer and, if I feel like I'm starting to get, too stressed out or if I just need a moment, I literally set that timer and I just take time to breathe and to calm down.
mm,
And then, after that, then I can get back to what I was doing. And I feel like I'm in a better place to do that,
yes.
a better attitude.
I love that. I feel like taking time to like pause in between things is really important cuz like I notice like sometimes I'll like go from one thing to the next and I'm like always like kind of rushing through stuff and I feel like that just gives me so much anxiety. And like now when I'm like, okay, I'm done with this task. Let me take like a little break. Let me breathe, let me pause, and like actually go into whatever my next activity or my next task is with like just a clearer mind and like with a less and just with like less anxiety. I feel like
Mhm.
I
You
yeah.
feel you probably feel more productive. Like you can get more stuff done instead of like continuing to just stress and stress and stress. Because honestly, if I get too stressed out, I'm probably gonna stop whatever it is and just like like if I'm doing homework and I
Mhm.
just feel like so overwhelmed, it's gonna make me want to stop and like I don't know, go to bed early, take a nap or something.
Yep. Yep. Totally. I am on the exact same page with that. Um yeah, I feel like so what do you think is like um one of the hardest things about self-care or like taking care of yourself? That's the one question I got from me asking if people had questions about self care. Like, why is it so hard? Um, why would you say it's hard?
Mm, I don't know. I don't want to say that it's really that hard. Well, it's not hard when you're by yourself, right? But when you have other people, if you have children or if you have a spouse or you have other people in your life, it can get a little bit more complicated when you want to just take some time to yourself.
Mm,
However, like I would definitely um, like you really can't pour into others if you don't have anything left in the tank. And I think that self-care allows you to, ref like refuel. Like,
mm,
if it's hard, like I would or dealing with other people, I would definitely, you know, let them know like, hey, I need some time to myself. And nobody can really get mad at you for that.
Mm,
Um, because you should also encourage them to take some time to themselves. You know what I mean? So even those dealing with small children, like you need some time to yourself. Let your kids take some time to themselves. Let them color or do, one of their like favorite activities or something. You know what I mean? Just
right.
so you can have some me time and they can have some time.
And I feel like asking for help is also like another thing that people have like difficulty with, you know, like being able to say like, I'm really frustrated. Can you help me with this? Or, can you take care of this or take it off my plate? Something like that. I feel like people have issues admitting that they need help.
Yeah. I was definitely one of those people because I don't know why, but I don't like to ask for help with a lot of stuff. I rather just do it myself.
Mm,
And there comes a point where you kind of figure out, hey, you know what? I really can't do it myself. And it's really not going to hurt me, you know, to ask for help, to ask someone to help me. Um,
so
if
true.
anything, there's the added benefit, now you have more room to breathe.
Mm. Yeah, I feel like that also helps you like it helps you like become closer, I feel like, with the people in your life,
Yeah.
because then
I
you're
mean,
able to
let people
like,
know. Yeah. You let
yeah.
people know how you're feeling because you can't assume that people know that you have so much on your plate.
Mm,
You can't assume that people know how you feel. You need to vocalize that. So if I'm pretty sure if you let somebody know, like, hey, I got a lot going on, I need help, I'm pretty sure they'll help you.
100%. Yeah, I feel like yeah, a lot of us have trouble like expressing like, you know, that we have needs, like and just being like vulnerable like that. I think
Do you think it's
it's
a pride thing?
yeah, yeah, I think so because I feel like people don't want to look like weak, you know?
Mm-hmm.
People don't want to look like they don't know what they're doing. And
Mm-hmm.
that's me like 100%. Like I hate looking like I don't know what's going on or, that I don't like that I'm not in control
Yeah.
of certain things. And so, yeah, it's definitely a pride thing because I'm like, well, they don't need to
Oh, if
see
you,
me struggle. So,
but I mean, but you learn, right? That's another way to learn. You ask for help. Somebody can teach you something you didn't know instead of you just standing there just trying to pretend like you know what you're doing. Someone can show you actually how you should be doing it.
so, so true. Yeah, man. I'm loving this conversation. Yeah, because I'm trying to learn how to like be better at that first, and then also just in general, like taking care of myself and not feeling the constant urge to like have it together and
I
be
don't think
perfect.
anyone has it together, and definitely no one is perfect. There's not one person in this world that can say they have it completely together.
That's so true. Yeah, and like starting to learn that and like hearing other people's stories, and I'm like,
Yeah,
oh, like, oh, so you're telling me you didn't know what was next in your life at this point? It's like, okay, I don't have to have it,
I think
100% together.
social media has a big part in that because when you look online, it seems like everyone has it together and that everyone is perfect.
Mm.
When in reality, each and every one of us are struggling with something.
Whew. Yeah. Amen to that.
Yeah, every single person, like no one has it together. But I just think that social media period has us thinking that we should um, have it together and be perfect like somebody else when we don't know what is really going on. We only see the highlights. We don't know what's going on in their lives, what
Mm.
they're dealing with. No one, I mean, would you post, something terrible was going on in your life? Would you sit and post about it? Probably not.
I mean, some people do, but
Mm,
but like, yeah, you're right. Because it's like, first of all, who's comfortable enough to do that? And then second of all, like, most of those people online aren't your actual friends,
no, like
right?
you know what I mean.
So,
Like if somebody was, I don't know, to go bankrupt or something, do you think they're gonna put that on social media? No, no. So it's like even though people will post certain stuff, they'll never let you know like 100% of what's going on.
so,
Like
so
there's
true.
always probably more to the story than the little bit they're putting out. Because I mean, you do want some type of privacy, no
Right.
matter. Yeah, people. I don't know. Yeah. Oh, can you still hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm getting a call.
Oh, no, you're good.
But yeah, so it yeah. I
Mm.
think just I don't know, we need to realize like for one when we need help. And for two, like, don't feel pressure to have it all together to be perfect in any type of way because not one human on this earth has it together or is perfect.
Mm.
I know I'm not. I know I'm like the first the furthest thing. The first, yeah, definitely the furthest.
Man. And also, like, about social media, I feel like, what are ways, because I feel like you spend a lot of time on social media. I
I
mean,
limit. No,
not like,
yeah, no. I
yeah, not like in like
definitely.
a bad way, but just because, you do like have a pretty decent following and you post like content and stuff. So like, how do you take care of yourself and like make
Um,
sure you're not like getting too caught up in what's happening on social media?
for one, I definitely limit my use, um, because that's like the number one distraction. Like I would not get anything done if I just sat on Instagram and scrolled and scrolled and scrolled. For two, I don't follow anyone or anything that makes me feel some type of way. Um,
Mm.
about myself, if that makes sense. Like, obviously, well, I don't want to say obviously, but I'm very, comfortable with me. You know what I mean? But I don't follow. I don't want certain things on my timeline. Um, I like
Mm.
to keep it pretty much PG-13.
Yes.
Um, yeah, I follow mostly. I follow a lot of food stuff and I mean, obviously, I follow other people, but um, just I definitely limit the use of my Instagram, um, and I respond to people when I'm ready to respond to people, not feeling obligated to respond right away because then I'd always be on social media. So I have a
Mm.
time limit to when I'm on social media and stuff like that.
Yes.
I try to post decent stuff, decent content. I can't say I'm 100%. Like I kind of post all over the place. I'm not really consistent. I can't say I'm really consistent with it.
I mean, from my end, it looks like you're pretty consistent.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's fake.
What?
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I feel like you do a really good job of like connecting with people,
Um,
and you seem like
I try
genuine
because
about
you
it.
want somebody, yeah, you want somebody genuine and you want like somebody like a real person. Like I don't know. I feel like I kind of take pride in my page to where I don't want to BS any of my followers or, like I'm not knocking anybody else, but like I don't want to have certain stuff on my page, like, some waist trainers or tees and not well, okay, the whole thing with waist trainers, there are supposedly some benefits, but however, you can't just wear a waist trainer and not do anything and think that it's going to work because people really think that. And actually, some celebrities are kind of selling that to people.
Mm.
But, or like the teas, the lollipops, there's kind of some weird stuff.
Oh, I've seen those. Yeah. Yeah. Social media is
But
just
how
a
is that supposed
mess.
to, yeah. How is that supposed to help you lose weight though? I don't get it.
Because I know those are like supposed to be like appetite suppressors, right?
No, but you need to eat. The whole thing is
Right.
everyone trying to like go on some type of a diet. The most important thing is just for you to eat to fuel your body, not to be on a diet constantly.
Mm.
If you
And
want to lose weight, you eat less calories, fewer calories. You don't not eat or you don't eat like 1,200 calories and think like, I mean, everyone's different. Everyone eats a different amount, but for the general population, 1,200 calories is not doing anything for you.
mm, yeah, I feel like I used to count calories, but at some point I just like I don't know. I just stopped.
I think I'm like 50-50. So I feel like if you don't really know what you're doing, counting calories, figuring out micro related stuff, macro, I don't know why I said micro, well, macro and micronutrient, whatever, related stuff,
Mhm.
can definitely help you reach your goals. It can, you could learn um, the different foods, the different nutrients you need, um, your calorie intake. I think that it can help, but if you're doing it in such a way that it makes it unhealthy, then it's not for you. Like you just need to focus on eating healthy, like eating your fruits and vegetables and not counting every single calorie.
Totally. I love that. And I feel like that's what I do now. Like I'm more focused on like I'm just going to make sure I buy healthy
Yeah,
food. Like I'm going to
it's
buy
simple.
groceries and vegetables and like not super fatty meats, and then I'm usually good with that cuz I know at least I'm not like buying potato chips and like pop all the
But
time.
yeah, there's different. Even with that stuff, I would just try to shoot for a healthy alternative
Mm.
and don't get so caught up in. Well, now for certain people, they do kind of. So when I was doing bodybuilding, I did have to count macros, count my calorie intake, um, to the T, like to the T. Um, so with somebody, but just for the average person, I would just suggest that you eat healthy foods, whole foods, your fruits, your vegetables, your grains, your meat if you eat meat, whatever it is that you eat, just healthy portions,
Mm.
and then stay active. Like I feel like that's the main thing is just staying active and just fueling your body. Eating stuff that makes you feel good, that doesn't make you feel like crap, pretty
Mm.
much. It's kind of like, yeah, it's kind of like a no brainer in a way.
So true. Yeah, cuz I definitely know now which foods like make me feel like gross after,
You just
you
listen to
know.
your body, like, hey. it'll tell you that it doesn't like this.
Mm-hmm.
Like it will tell you it doesn't like certain things. And you just have to learn to listen to your body. That's the most important thing.
That's so true. And so, what would you say is like, okay, let's say someone's like super, like kind of burned out. They're like overworked, just super frustrated. What's like one practical thing that they can do to like take better care of themselves?
Go to bed on time. Go to bed early.
Mm. So,
Sleep
getting
is
enough rest.
honestly sleep is definitely um, your best bet. Even getting it, not just just going to sleep, but getting in a relaxed environment. Maybe you want to light some candles. That's what I do. I light candles, or I have my essential oils. But I always make the environment before I'm, getting ready to get in bed. I make it very relaxing. So
Yes.
yeah, so all I want to do is lay in my bed. And even if you're having trouble sleeping, they have melatonin, small doses, or they have tea. I like my bedtime tea. I also take like magnesium to help relax my muscles and stuff. And I get a pretty restful night of sleep. Um, but definitely having that relaxing environment, playing, I like listening to videos on YouTube of like rain or like some type of calming sound. And I
Ooh,
literally fall asleep within 5 minutes, like no joke.
yes.
Um, yeah, that's like probably my favorite thing. Um, but just definitely getting into bed on time and sticking to that, trying to get 7 to 8 hours of sleep because you really can't function at your full potential at like 4 or 5 hours of sleep.
Mm, man,
And I know I
that's,
can. I know I would be a walking zombie and I'd probably have an attitude if I only got 4 hours of sleep. So,
yeah, I definitely agree with having like a nighttime routine. Like, that's something that I haven't, like, I don't have like a solid one yet, but I'm working towards it. But just like things like, okay, putting away your phone at a certain time or turning the TV
yeah,
off at a certain time, taking a shower if you shower at night, like washing your
I
face.
hope so.
That's like, I feel like that's like one of the biggest things I've been like trying to like work on, like actually making sure I take my makeup off, wash my face, um, and just really take care of my skin. I feel like that's like a great way for me to like really get in that like bedtime like mindset or whatever.
Hmm.
Um, yeah.
Even you said putting away your phone. I actually leave my phone in the other room at night because I try not to check it at least like 30 minutes to an hour before going to bed
Mm,
because right then and there, that's some self care time. Like that's my time to where I don't have to answer anyone else. Um, and also, when I wake up in the morning, it's not right there for, that's not the first thing I check when I wake up.
mm.
I take my time to get myself ready, to get in the mindset that I need to be in for the day. And then I'll check my phone.
So, so true. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I feel like I used to be better at that, but that's something that I need to definitely work on a bit more. Because lately I've been like getting up and like checking my email, like
I
first
mean, it's
thing.
easy to do that though. It's definitely easy to do that, but it's like you have to think, you just have to take back that time because that time is for you to get ready for what you have to do for the day. So everyone else can wait. They're on your time, you know what I mean? So you answer when you have time to answer. You do stuff when you have the time to do it, or your designated time to do it.
Yes, I love that. I feel like I used to be very much like, oh, if somebody texted me, I have to text them back right away. But now I'm like, nope.
Mhm.
Like if I'm busy, like it might be a day, before
Yeah,
I
but
get
there's
back to
nothing
you.
wrong with that. And being an adult, everyone should understand that. And I know some people get offended if you don't text them back or something. I don't. I don't get offended if somebody does not text me back, or I don't feel like, well, I don't understand why somebody else should get offended if I didn't text them back right away, because maybe I'm doing, maybe I'm busy, maybe, that's my time to myself, or maybe that's their time, so I don't get offended if, I just feel like, being an adult, you shouldn't be upset if somebody didn't text you back.
So, so
It's
true.
okay.
Yeah, especially like I feel like if it's an emergency, someone will call, or something like
Yeah.
that. But if it's just like a text or like a DM or something, like no, I'm going to take my time before I get back
Yeah.
to you.
Whenever, I mean, your designated time to do that, you'll get it done. But when you're on your own schedule, and I don't feel like I need to be on my phone 24/7. Like, I don't want to be on my phone 24/7. That thing, I don't know. Sometimes it gives me a headache.
Yes.
So, like, literally a headache. So I'm just like, you know what? I don't feel like being on my phone right now. I rather, or I want to spend time with my boyfriend. So I'm not going to sit on my phone right now.
Mm.
It's just, Dylan, when you have, a significant other, whatever, you not only have to have time for yourself, but you have to have time for them too.
So,
So,
so true. Yes, I
yeah.
completely agree. Yeah, and I feel like one thing I did was like in your Apple iPhone settings or whatever, like you can make it so you have like a time limit on certain apps, and I know I did that for
Hmm.
Instagram. So like after 30 minutes, it tells me like you've been on here for 30 minutes. And I'm like, "Whoa, like that did not feel like 30 minutes. Like it usually feels like 10
Yeah.
minutes." But yeah,
Hmm.
if you're not like careful with it, you can waste a bunch of time on there and miss out on what is actually like happening in your life and spending time with people around you. So, yes.
I used to have that timer for like an hour, and then I realized that an hour every day is 7 hours of time that I could have did something completely constructive.
Mm,
Like,
I think about that
yeah.
all the time. I'm like, dang, I could have like learned something, you know, in that
And
time.
within those 7 hours, like, I could know something.
Yeah. So, so true. And so, with like, because you brought up like significant others, like, how do you make sure that you're still able to like prioritize yourself while still like being able to be there for your significant other or your partner?
I I think that we just have an understanding, and we communicate with each other when we just need some time for ourselves, and we respect that. Um, so for us here, it's easy because we both respect that. We both need time. Um, you know, he actually did a show, a bodybuilding show, the Olympia, and leading up to that show, or he did several shows actually this year, but leading up to that show, he had to be in the gym for hours, like literally hours.
Mm.
And it's you know that's a whole different subject, but um, but just we just respect each other's time, and him being in the gym was his time for himself, time that he needed for himself, to reach a certain goal, or, stuff like that. And I respected that. And I, tried not to make it, you know, about me, or like, oh, you don't spend enough time with me, or blah, blah, blah. Because, I mean, he did prioritize us time too. So he took time for himself at the gym, and did what he had to do. And then he would come home, and in the evening, even just us falling asleep together, that's us time. So it's
Aw.
just, yeah. It's just, yeah, we just have that understanding, and I think we're very supportive of each other, so it kind of works out. All of this just ties into, just taking care of yourself every day, making time for yourself every day, and it really pays off in the long run, where you can keep going and you don't get burnt out, and just and that's literally everything: mind, body, spirit. Just taking care of yourself, um, going to the gym or working out, walking. I don't know, literally anything, any movement, any physical activity, reading. You know, um, getting your mental health together, taking some quiet time, meditating, um, prayer, all of that.
All those things, like, start
All
today.
of those
I'm kidding.
things. Do it
Yeah.
right now.
um,
But you pick one, and you stick to it, because you make it a habit.
mm,
At first it might feel like a chore, but I mean, taking care of yourself really shouldn't feel like a chore. But but you make it a habit. And I actually read that it takes 63 days instead of what people say, like 21 days, to um, get a habit or
mm,
make it a habit. It actually takes 63. 3 cycles,
holy cow.
and every day is day one, and before you know it, you're there.
Man, that is so true. Yeah, for you to be able to stick to something, I feel like you definitely need way more than 21 days.
Yeah, 21 days. Yeah, I know. I've done something for 21 days, and then I eventually stopped doing it. It was, it takes a minute to really build a habit.
Mm,
Um, that's something Dr. Caroline Leaf taught me. She taught me how
yes.
to switch on my brain and
Okay.
to unlock my hidden potential.
Yes, I love that. Yeah, I'll have to link to it in like the show notes for sure. Um, but yeah, thank you so much, Jasmine, for sharing your perspective. I feel like this was a super important conversation, and I loved having it with you. Thanks again for tuning in to Dear Diaspora's first ever bonus episode. If you'd like to connect with Jasmine, you can follow her on Instagram at Jasmine Rachel, and I'll make sure to link to her profile in the description. Thanks for listening to Dear Diaspora. If you like what you hear, subscribe, rate, and review us on iTunes. You can find us on Instagram at Dear Diaspora, or visit our website at deardiasporashow.com. Thank you, and talk to you next week.